This is your reminder that healing isn't fast. It's not instant. It can take years and trial and error and finding out what works, deep reflection, trusting in yourself over and over again. And healing, this is physical healing from a disease or an illness. This is emotional healing from abandonment, from trauma, from experience in life. This is mental healing, ever spiritual healing, whatever healing you need. This is your reminder. It's not fast. It's going to take some time. Give yourself that time to heal and go through the process. I'm so excited for you guys to meet Jenn Miller. We dive into her story of is a 23-year in recovery cancer survivor, and her journey and her story taught me so much that healing of anything takes time and it takes deep self-trust. We dive into her human design chart. She is a manifesting generator with all these brilliant ideas and inspiration, and we dive into that as well as some beautiful ways that she makes decisions best. So I can't wait for you to meet Jenn. Jenn is a transformational healer and spiritual teacher who helps others to reconnect to their body, release old patterns, and really live in alignment. And today she's here with us, and I can't wait for you to meet her. See you inside the episode. Take a breath. You've got this. Jenn, thank you so much for being on the show today. I'm so excited you're here. I can't wait for us to jump into this conversation.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
It's so great. Before we dive in, we're going to start with one of my favorite parts of the ROI of Peace path, and this is the Pick Your Peace game. So for those that are viewing, I cannot find my Pick My Peace board. I don't know where it went. I put it somewhere and I was like, surely I will remember where this is. And I have no idea where it is. So I'm going to have to go clean out some closets. But you get to choose there are 12 interferes. These interferes are patterns that sabotage our peace, pull us from overthinking, overworking, overgiving, and disconnecting from ourselves. And this is part of my system that blends human design. And so I've assigned each interfere a number 1 through 12. And so just choose a number that feels good to you, and we'll do the visualization story.
I'm going to go with number 6.
Number 6. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's grab that number 6. Okay, number 6 is the over worrier.
Okay.
So this is like really a pattern of over worrying, scanning for danger, mistaking vigilance for control. So that type of thing. So that's the one we're going to do. All right. I'm excited. Good choice. All right. For everybody listening, if you're in a comfortable position, if you're in a seated position, you can close down your eyes and we'll take a deep breath. Exhaling, inhaling. And as we exhale, we'll release all those edges and really we'll let the story begin. There once was a small sparrow who lived in a field at the edge of a forest. Every day she would watch the sky, scanning the horizon for the dark clouds. If she even saw a gray wisp, her heart would race. What if a storm is coming? She whispered. What if I'm not ready? So she spent her days fluttering from branch to branch, gathering twigs, checking the sky again and again. The more she prepared, the less she sang. One afternoon, she saw an older bird resting calmly on a nearby tree. The sky behind them shifted, a few clouds, a little wind, but the elder bird did not move. The sparrow flew over, frantic. Aren't you afraid? What if it rains? What if the wind comes? The elder bird looked up and smiled softly. I've flown through many storms, she said. They come, they pass, and the branches grow stronger from the wind. You don't need to live inside the weather or fear what is coming next. The sparrow blinked. She had never thought of that. She looked around. The breeze brushed her feathers. For the first time, she took a deep breath and stayed still. That evening, as the clouds drifted past and the sunlight touched the field, The sparrow began to hum again, a soft, simple song. The wind lifted, carrying her melody far beyond the trees. From that day on, whenever her mind rushed ahead, she would whisper, I am safe. The storm will pass. I am strong. I can sing. What storms are you trying to predict or prevent even before they arrive? Has worrying ever kept you truly safe or just nervous, anxious, and restless? You can take another deep breath. And when you're ready, if you've closed your eyes, you can open your eyes. Well done. Jenn, what thoughts or feelings came to you during that visualization?
So it's such a perfect story to start this with because that I was that little bird. That was me for so many years of my life, always trying to anticipate, always trying to worry. And I think of how much joy that robbed me from in my life and how I wasn't able to be present for my life experience.
Yeah. Well, and I think that that over worry of fear of like, oh, if I think of all the different scenarios that are going to happen in the future, then I will be able to be hyper vigilant and I'll be able to react and know and all these things, you know? But it just creates more fear, and that fear stops good decision making. It stops being present and really feeling into creativity and figuring out the problems instead of coming at it from an angle of fear and concern. And did you so with your healing journey, were you in this fear based, that's where you started, from this fear based place of worrying so much? Because I mean, I would imagine with cancer it would be such a heavy weight of fear.
Yes. So I call it sitting duck syndrome, where you are just sitting there treading water, going through life, but really just waiting to get sick again. And it's really interesting. What I learned about myself was that I actually would make myself sick by trying so hard not to get sick. I'm going to be the healthiest person ever. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to eat perfect. I'm going to take the perfect supplements. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this, right? And all of it was coming from such a place of fear of getting sick that it was actually draining my energy trying to be healthy, right? And not a lot of people talk about after cancer. They talk about while you're going through it and you have a game plan, you have a treatment plan, you have a team, you have doctors, you have people supporting you. And then when you get through it, if you're blessed enough to make it to the other side, everyone's like, you should be great. You should be wonderful, right? You should feel wonderful about life. And actually, you feel worse than ever. It's traumatic. Your body is not the same. It will never be the same. You are not the same. And you carry that fear with you of like, what if this happens again? And it is, I mean, I had anxiety before cancer and I had worse anxiety after cancer.
Wow. And I totally relate. Like, with my MS, that gets me even more tired and more sluggish and more brain fog and disconnected and dissociative and all the things, is being nervous that I'm going to feel sick. You know what? And being nervous, how sick am I going to feel in certain moments? You know, when I have to either be on or perform or just want to live life, you know? And so I agree. I've never had so much anxiety. And then after a diagnosis, and the doctor will be like, you're fine, you know, everything looks normal. And I'm like, this does not feel normal to me. And so that panic of, you know, how am I going to cope is such a fear. And I've really worked on telling myself to loosen up, to relax, you know, but not like a relax, like just relax, you know, but it's just a real like surrender feeling, you know? And so your story is such a powerful reminder that healing isn't fast. It's not instant. It's going to take trial and error and trusting yourself over and over again. So what were the moments where you thought, why is this taking so long? how am I supposed to like keep doing this? Do you know?
Yeah. So it's been 23 years since I've had cancer. So it's been quite a journey. There were so many moments along the way. I would say that for me, and it's just my journey, it took me probably a good 15 years to really feel like I got over the experience. And that included also things leading up to the experience that I believe contributed to why I got sick. But for 15 years, I would wake up and be like, am I ever going to feel normal? Am I ever not going to have this fear? It was almost like this black cloud of stigma that I couldn't shake because I had cancer. Even like I was a cancer patient. You're like, wait, what? I don't want that. I don't want to have this. And you can never get rid of that. So there were so many times. I'm blessed in that with my healing, it's kind of a chicken and an egg thing, is that actually, and I was thinking about it when you were reading that, going through my healing journey is actually what allowed me to gain the trust in myself, my faith in my higher power, that allowed me to be the wise bird on the branch instead of the little bird that's worried all the time, right? It was ironic. The thing I would fear the most, I mean, who would think of getting cancer at 18, right? Horrible. But in going through that whole experience and all the healing I've done and growth I've done since then is what allowed me to grow beyond that. So, yeah, I mean, there were so many moments. And when I work with people, I share that with them. It's going to take time. And you just have to entrust, if you keep moving in the right direction, that it's like you plant a seed and you keep watering it and watering it and watering it and watering it. And one day it finally sprouts.
Yes. Well, and it's, that growth, a lot of times we don't see that growth and those shifts because those micro changes and micro betterments, or we're getting closer to our goal, but we don't quite see it. How did you keep the hope up that you would feel better?
I think there were a few things. One is just pure stubbornness. I can be kind of stubborn, and in some ways that can be a good thing, that I just refused to accept that was what my life was going to be like. I would refuse to accept I was going to carry all of that with me the rest of my life. And that's actually what propelled me on to my own healing journey. And then everything I've gone on to train in and help people in is that I was willing to try anything and everything. I thought, what do I have to lose, right? If something works, great. If it doesn't, okay, moving on next. And things did start to work. And then I met people along the way. I've had a few really pivotal people in my life, spiritual teachers / healers, that helped me see and understand from a higher level what having an experience like cancer or illness is in your life journey. And it helped me start to look at it from a different perspective and actually gain gratitude for it. And I always say that cancer is one of the biggest blessings of my life. I mean, you never would have caught me saying that when I was going through it or soon out of it, but I'm so grateful for it. It set me off on this journey I wouldn't have otherwise gone on.
And that's how I feel about MS too. And I think about all the really big challenges I've had in my life, and everybody, listening, physical, emotional, the mental challenges, everything across the board. We would never wish that on ourselves, I also, at the same time, we can hold in our hand the lessons and the growth. And I feel that same way with MS. I feel like I have really, it has hugely helped me personally to celebrate myself, to be present in the moment, to create more joy and happiness instead of rushing through things. It's given me a lot of perspective, and it's really helped me to develop a business that helps other people have peace as well, And so where did that self-trust come from within you? How did you build more self-trust in this journey? Because a lot of times there's specialists, there's doctors, or for other people, there's figures that they look up to telling them, hey, you should do this, you should do that. How did you develop self-trust in like what you should actually do, what your journey really should look like?
I think from the beginning, so I was going to the doctors on and off for 3 years, and they kept telling me there was nothing wrong with me. They couldn't figure it out. And I knew, I'm like, no, something is wrong with me. They said, oh, it's high school stress. I'm thinking, this cannot be normal high school stress. So from the get-go, there was this, even though the doctors were telling me I was fine, I knew I wasn't. So when then I actually did get diagnosed, it was this huge confirmation of like, "Oh, I know how I feel. I need to trust how I feel." Like you said, we so often give our power over to authority figures. And if a doctor says this, you blindly run and you trust it. Right. And if I've learned anything is that you have to be your own advocate. You have to trust how you feel. There's been many times along the way since then, I've had other, smaller health things happen. I've had to listen to myself, be my own advocate, find the right person. Even if this one person can't help me, somebody else can. So that's one aspect of learning to trust myself. But the journey of healing myself and turning to different modalities and looking in the mind and the spirit and the energy body and right, all the different things. My MO in it was, how does it make me feel? Right. And if something made me feel good, I would do it. And if something didn't make me feel good, I wouldn't do it. And while it sounds so simple, it's this process of building up your own inner voice and actually listening, because how we feel is our guidepost, right? It's our compass.
Yes. Yes. I was just talking to a client and she was navigating some tough situations. And I was like, does this thing give you more light? Is it supporting you with more light? If it is, keep doing it. If it's not, then reevaluate, you know? But I think it is so simple, like way of like, wait a second, is this helping or not? You know? And just
Yeah.
trusting in that voice to like, yeah, we got this, you know?
Yeah,
So
I mean, I think it was somewhat while I was sick, and then after that, I did a cleaning house of my life in many ways. And I really took inventory of the things, the people, everything in my life. And I thought, well, if you're not either neutral or positively impacting my life, I'm really sorry, but you have to go. And it was nothing about them. It was a way for me to protect myself. And I hold that to be true up into this day of, really honoring what works for me, what aligns with me at this point in my life. And because of that, having that mentality, that also allowed me to let go of some of the fear, because I knew that if something didn't feel right, I trusted myself to either do something about it, find the person who could help me, walk away, whatever the situation is.
yes, really trusting in that voice, that compass coming from within you, you know? So, for all our friends listening who are discouraged by how long healing takes, whether it's from a chronic illness or a disease, or it's a divorce, or it's an addiction, or whatever it is, you know, emotional anxiety and depression, and it's taking them a long time to heal, what would you say to them?
So, I mean, there's so many things, but one of the things I share with the people I work with is that the thing that you want to go away so badly is the thing that is teaching you the most. Cancer really taught me to love myself. It first started with my physical body, because I really did not know how to take care of my body. I didn't know how to listen to it. And so it started with that, but then it moved into inside and really taking care of my whole being. And there were times, I mean, especially because I was younger, I just wanted to go out and party like all of my friends, but I couldn't because my body couldn't do it, right? And so there was this, and I just wanted it to go away in so many ways. I wanted the whole experience to just go away. I wanted to pretend like it never happened. And then when I finally embraced it and I went, okay, this is I believe things come into our life for a reason, everything. I don't believe anything is happenstance. And I'm like, okay, there's a reason this is here, and there's a reason this won't go away. And there's a reason why I will carry this with me the rest of my life. And I turned that into purpose, right? For myself, but also for helping other people. And so it went from becoming this punishment to this huge gift. So to tie it back into what you're asking is that when you shift your perspective, it becomes something you don't want to leave. It becomes something that it's like, not when is this going to be over? It's, oh, okay, what's the next piece of this puzzle? Because I still learn. 23 years later, thank God I'm very healthy, but I'm still learning from it.
Yes. And I think that surrender, again, is rendering to it. Oftentimes as human beings, when it's uncomfortable, we want to shift and change and make it get out of there. But that creates this energy that's even worse than the thing that we're carrying, and that's what I find with myself too. I'm like, when I surrender to what it is, I feel so much better. I feel like I have hope that I can accomplish this very thing. And then I look back on my life, I'm like, if you can get through this other thing, you can do this. You are strong, and you are learning those messages to be stronger. And it's okay to be uncomfortable. It's okay to learn. It's okay to grow. And it's a beautiful process that I wouldn't want, but I'm glad I have the ability to and have the opportunity.
Yeah.
So on your human design chart, your human design chart is just magnificent. It is so amazing. And when we're talking about human design is, for all those who are listening and who don't know, human design is like the Enneagram and Strength Finders. It's like a personality test that shares the gifts that we were born with. And your human design type, and that's the first place that we start off as, is a manifesting generator. And a manifesting generator is multi-passionate. You're fast, creative mover. You can build things really quickly. And especially when you're building what's lighting you up inside, it can go really, really fast. Your mantra is, I'm designed to love many things. That is my power. So a manifesting generator is not in a box. They're kind of this out of the box. Like, I'm going to take this part and this part and this part, and all towards your learning and towards your growth and towards who you are in your career as well. And you also have a lot of energy. You have the gift of energy, the gift to be able to not only feel this area or aspect of whatever you're focusing in on, you have the gift to build that as well. So with the ability to be multi-passionate, how have you seen that in your career?
So many moons ago, I used to work in the corporate world before I went full-time into doing healing work. I used to do healing work on the side. And I saw it in the corporate world in that I was very successful. I had a very dynamic job that I traveled around the world all the time. I managed a bunch of people. I was very successful. I never felt quite inspired by it. I learned a tremendous amount. I'm very grateful for the experience, but I felt like it always kept me boxed in. So when I left the corporate world and I went off on my own to go full-time into healing work, I really saw this kick in, because then I had the freedom to work on whatever I wanted to work on, whatever lit me up, whatever I felt passionate about, which was multiple things. And I actually learned to embrace that instead of thinking, oh, I should be focusing all my energy on this one thing. What's wrong with me? Why can't I? I really did learn and see that I like to have many projects going on, many interests. I'm always training in something new, learning something new, while I'm doing this, while I'm doing that. And I realized that for so long, I tried to put myself in that box, which is what you think would be normal, like focus on one thing. It just doesn't work for me. I need that energy. I need the movement. I need the go.
Yes. And that mantra of focus on one thing, there's Pinterest boards and there's books written about just do something linear, and you are not a linear person. So kick that to the curb. That's not for you. You're supposed to do this bounce around like a bouncy ball, right? We don't try to control a bouncy ball when it hits, and it hits at different places that we're not expecting. But the beauty of what you bring to the world is you're grabbing those different interests, those different learnings and you're making this new pioneering way for you forward and you're bringing people with you. Now, you with this gift of energy, this is can be so go go go. You can be on the go all the time. Now, our greatest gifts can also sometimes be a challenge, right? So, how do you navigate not burning yourself out? Or has
That
that been
has
hard,
been
you know?
one of my greatest lessons. And it actually ties into
Yes.
my cancer journey because one of the things when you get through cancer you have is FOMO. You want to go do everything. So it's already in my nature. And then I'm like, well, oh my God, time is short. Life is short. I need to
Yes.
go experience everything. And for many years, I went through these cycles of burnout where I would do everything, everything, everything. And then I would crash and burn and I would actually get like some kind of cold. And then I'd go into the spiral of, oh
Oh,
my God, am I getting sick again? Right. So,
yes.
fast forward, when I started to really observe and learn that pattern within myself, I went, okay, I can do everything, but I've got to pace myself. I've got to find regular practices. There was a lot that went behind the healing of it because some of it was nervous system. I had to work with my nervous system to help it to calm down. I had to find ways to channel all of that energy and that passion. Like I do hot power yoga 3 times a week. I salsa dance. Like I need the movement, but if I don't have that dynamic part within me will not go well, right? But so
Yes.
as many years of trial and error to finally being like, I don't think this is working anymore. And
Yes.
it's how do I explain it? It's allowing myself to have the movement and the dynamic energy and the this and the that, but control it. Also build
Yes.
in like I will purposefully take a day to we were just talking before this about Thanksgiving and how I'm really taking Thanksgiving to rest. I'll do something in the evening, but all day I'm like, nope, that's going to be my day just to chill out, right?
Yes.
Not my nature, so it's had to become something I really check myself on regularly.
You have to be really intentional about it because you could just go, 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 and then find yourself in burnout all the time and waves and cycles of that. And really, for your strategy to really tap into you as a manifesting generator, follow what feels energizing, what feels passionate, what feels like this sparkle going inside of you, and allow yourself to drop things that do not, drop things that feel heavy or a responsibility or you should do, whether you're thinking it inside of here or someone maybe has said, hey, this is what we, like what good business owners should do or what, like responsibilities should be. You can drop those and just follow this feeling of what is exciting and passionate for you and trust yourself for your next steps. It's all inside of you. So, and another layer of of trusting yourself and listening to this inner voice is on your human design chart is your inner authority. And inner authority is how you make decisions best. And yours is your gut. So the mantra for this is my gut knows before my mind ever will. And so the feeling inside of your gut of this physical response of a yes, this distinction of expansion is a yes. This sparkle is a yes. No feels like constricting, it feels like heaviness, feels like not quite content, it feels a little off. And so this ability to make a decision based on feeling inside of your gut, not logic, is really where you hit your spot with your human design. So wait, how does your yes feel in your body? Can you describe that?
So it's a very expansive feeling and it's this not frantic, but there's this movement of energy. It is like a sparkle. It's very
Mm.
expansive. Literally, I feel like I'm opening up. That's how I feel, right? And it
Oh, that's
feels like possibility.
yes. Oh, I love that possibility. So what does a no feel like when it's a no and you're like,
I mean, it just feels miserable inside. I
yes.
feel very caged in. I feel restricted. I feel almost like I can't move. I can't breathe within it. There's no possibility for anything. There's no excitement. It's just like, it feels kind of dark and heavy and all of that.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Has it been hard to, as you're making decisions, to tap into what your body feels and to kind of disconnect your mind from doing those spreadsheet style pro con list and things like that? Has that been a difficult thing to lean into?
As an entrepreneur, right, creating my
Yes.
healing business, that was one of the hardest lessons. There were a few, but that was one of the hardest because I came from the corporate world and I was like, okay, this is a business. I need to run this like a business. And it really didn't work. And I'm going, I don't understand why this isn't working. And luckily, I had some guidance along the way and I tapped into and realized, no, I need to trust what I'm feeling drawn to. I need to go in
Mm,
that direction. And it may not make logical sense, it may not make business sense, but I also believe when you're doing what I call is soul-led work, soul-driven work, that
mm.
you have to operate from a different place than logic.
Yes, and you have to really logic, there's a place for it, but I
Sure.
always come back to the first place is in my body and how am I feeling that? And that's what I love about human design is it kind of does this anti-training of like, let's really listen to ourselves and how do we listen to ourselves in a way that can help us move forward with ease and peace and joy instead of pressure and instead of feeling like this, we have to do it because this is what someone else said to do, or this is how everybody else is telling me I need to do this thing? And it really is the answers are inside of our body. And we just have to be guided to listen to that?
Oh, yeah.
And
I think learning about myself in that way in general helped me see also the type of life that I'm meant to have, right? Because sometimes I would look at people who have these very like 9 to 5, simple, easy, and I was like, well, is that what my life is supposed to be like? And I did try to
yes.
do that for a while, and I was like, no, I don't. I actually don't like this, and I realized that. I'm here for a life of impact, not a life of ease. And when you look at something like the
Yes.
human design chart, I think it reflects that. It shows you the type of path that you're here on this life to have.
Yes, it definitely does. And that strategy to engage this inner authority is to really notice the energy of expansion versus collapse and to trust, even though it might not make sense logically, that is the right direction to go into. Now, when we're looking at the body graph part, there's all these centers on the body graph, and some of them are colored in white and some of them are colored in green. Now, you have a lot, the green centers are defined centers, which means you always have the energy and the gift of that center always on. So green means go. And then the white centers are about those energies and gifts come in ebbs and flows, but they're also about connecting with the environment. So with people around us, the environment that we're in, and things like that. So one of the centers that you have that is a green center is your crown center. And this is the inspiration center. And this crown center is a constant internal stream of ideas, insights, questions, inspiration. Um, and your mantra for this is my inspiration opens up powerful possibilities. So you're always being inspired and receiving these beautiful connect the dots that other people don't see? And how does this inspiration usually show up to you?
So this is so fascinating to me, having been able to experience this. As I said, when I left the corporate world, that kept me in kind of this box, and I gave myself space in my life. All of a sudden, I started getting these downloads, I call them. I don't know what else to
Yes.
call them, downloads of information. And it's actually quite phenomenal how it works now of when I'm going to do a program. If I want to do a program, it's not something that I choose. I'm not like, okay, I want to do this program for people. It is something that will come to me. Like I'll be walking my
Mhm.
dog and all of a sudden it's like, I need to do a program about this and this is what it needs to be about, or this is my next move in life. Like it's just this divine guidance of information, download of information that very clearly shows me the way, helps me understand what to do. Like you said, connects dots. I'll even get downloads of insights for people like my clients, like, oh, that thing, you need to talk to her about this, and I'm like, okay, I don't even know what that is, But sure enough, when I'm in the next session with her and I'm like, hey, I'm curious, does this resonate with you? And they'll be like, oh my God, that, yes. So it's really quite a phenomenal gift. Now, sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming.
Yes. Tell me about that. How can it be overwhelming? What do you do?
So, one, I've learned to write things down. Like, okay, write this down because I might have the insight or the vision and it may not be able to happen right now. Like, for example, right now I'm working on a project that I probably first received the download for 10 years ago, right? And it's just really coming to fruition now. So I very much write things down, keep track of things, see like who is this for? Is this for me? Is this not for me? What's going on with it, right? There's kind of this fleshing out process. But I think above all else, even if it can be overwhelming, I think I look at some of the greatest minds of our times, and this is how they received their inventions and what they needed to do. It came from something greater than themselves.
Yes. And really, that is the strategy to guide this gift is to capture the ideas without pressure to act. There's no pressure to act on all the ideas. I often tell people, I'm like, put all the ideas on a list, and in a special journal or a note on your phone, and then let your inner authority decide when and where you act on this gift. And it could be for you, it could be for later on, it could be for someone else. And those ideas and inspiration energies will come when they need to, and they'll develop when they need to, just like a tree. It develops and grows, and it's not being forcing itself in nature to do so.
Yeah. Well, I'll give an example of how this showed up. So I did a program last year that was called Healing the Mother Wound. The information first showed up, the idea first showed up to me maybe a year and a half before that. And I just wrote it down on a piece of paper and I was like, well, I'm not ready to do this. And I'm not exactly even sure. I had ideas, but I'm like, a program about this, never even thought about it. And then over the subsequent year and a half, pieces of the puzzle started showing up. And so like whether it was a book, something I read in a book or this. And so then on my piece of paper about healing the mother wound, I started putting all of the pieces together. And then once I'm like, okay, now here it is. This is complete. So it's like that's like how the whole process tends to flesh out. But I have had, like you said, I've had to surrender and just trust when this is meant to happen. I'll have all of the information I need, right? Whatever it is. And then it'll be time to do it, to act.
Yes. And you can and tell yourself, I like that thought that like the timing will come to me as well. So it's not only the ideas coming, but the timing is really developing as well. There's one other part on your human design chart that stood out to me when we're looking at the body graph. There's these colored in lines, and some of them are small and some of them are longer, and they're both the same thing. They both mean they are gifts that you were born with. And so this one is gate 28, and this is around the intuition center. You have a lot of gifts around your intuition center. And this is the gift of sensing what's meaningful and what's a waste of energy. And I love that human design points out these like characteristics and gifts that we have that not necessarily we've really acknowledged as a gift. It just gives us our minds and our hearts a way to celebrate ourselves even more. And so the mantra for this is, my life is meaningful and I choose what truly matters. You do have this gift of seeing how to create meaning in life and how to focus in on what is meaningful, what is for you, and what is not for you, and what is not part of your journey. It's really a purpose and intentional gift of seeing that. And of course, with all gifts, we get to help gift that to clients, to family, to whoever you're surrounded with. And so this deep intention, how do you sense when something is meaningful and for you versus when it's draining?
I mean, again, it's that same feeling of, it's like the lighting up, the expansion. I just feel this draw to it. I mean, I think back even to when I probably can recognize this first showed up was actually after I had cancer. I started seeing a woman who did Reiki as a way to try to heal myself. And I remember while I was seeing her one time going, I'm going to do something like this. I didn't know exactly how it would play out. But I was like, this kind of work. And it was such a strong, it's almost overwhelming at
Mhm.
points how strong the pull is towards something. It's almost like I can't even stop. I can't even almost stop myself. I'm like, I need to do that now. I need to go to that now.
Yes. And you're listening to that call, you know? I think part of that too is not overthinking well, how is this going to work out? How is this going to fit in and do all those things and not feeling that pressure to know how everything matches with each other. So, where have you felt pressure around the time, or purpose? Have you felt that like
So So I started getting glimmers of my purpose,
uh,
right? 23 years ago as I'm healing from cancer. I'm like, I'm ready. I want to do this. I want to do this. And it wasn't really until 15 years later that I was ready to really practice and actually do this work. I had to go through 15 years of healing myself, learning, training, practicing, but honing my craft, all the things until I was ready to go. And so there was this internal pressure of like, I know my purpose. Let's get to it. Let's go. But I wasn't ready. Or there were things even like, while in that 15 years, I was working in the corporate world, doing all of this on the side, honing it, learning it, growing it. And I wanted to leave the corporate world, but I knew I wasn't ready. And this pressure of when is it going to be done? Is it time? I want to do this. Even then, when I left and I'm like, okay, I'm going to build my business full time. Right now, I burnt myself out a few times trying to do that. If I just work harder, do at some point, I really just surrendered and went, you know what? I really believe that this is divinely orchestrated, that the path I'm on is not even about me. It's about serving other people and helping other people. And I found this time and again that if I stay in line with that and alignment with that, everything unfolds like it is supposed to. And
yes.
I've never really had to worry. I used to worry, right? Like the little bird, and how's this all gonna work? And what I want it now. I had to surrender. I had to let go and trust that with the gifts I've been giving, with such intuitive gifts, that there's something greater that is working through me. And to think that I
Yes.
could try to control the timing of this, come on.
I know, right? That real surrender. And this goes into the strategy that we can tap into to develop this gift even more is this reflection question. Is this thing, fill in the blank, aligned with my deeper purpose, or is it just noise? And oftentimes we need to delete, diminish, or delegate things that are draining. And so to really look at that, to hone in on that. With in the ROI, in marketing, in sales, in performance, we are bringing in a new measure of peace into this metric. And so, for you, what area of your life or business is asking for more peace right now?
Let's see. I feel pretty at peace at the moment. I actually feel quite balanced. I think there's some things I'm ready to let go of that, and I'm very much at a place where as I said, there's a project I've been working on. I'm going to be launching it soon. I'm ready to step into that next piece of this and let go of some things. And of course, that is scary and
Yes.
exciting and everything in between. But I would say that piece. I'm kind of in this in between where I'm making the step actively, and it's like, okay, hold on, buckle in, here we go.
Yes. And
But
another layer of
good.
trusting the process, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And
yeah.
I'm so proud of myself, and I feel so blessed in that I took a point in my life where I took the leap of faith and I bet on myself. I trusted in these gifts that I have, that I believed they were here for a reason. And I went off on the path that included even moving to Costa Rica. I set off on this path. I had no idea where it was taking me. And so I've learned after many years of having done that you have to follow the path. Just keep
Mm,
going, right? And if
yes.
by how you feel, like if excites you, this lights you up, and it's going to scare you a little bit, but that's good, right? If you have that feeling, just keep going. Just keep going.
Yes. Just keep going. I love that. Oh my goodness, Jenn, this has been so amazing. I have loved our conversation. There's been so many gems that have come out of this. I know that our audience and listeners and friends want to get into your world. So where do they do that?
Yes. So I have my website, which is jennmillerhealing.com, and that's Jenn with 2 N's. And then I also have my Instagram, which is Jenn Miller Healing.
Oh, perfect. And we'll have all those links in the show notes as well. And so
Great.
everybody, again, thank you, Jenn, so much for being on the show today. It's been amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's so wonderful to be here with you and to connect with somebody who is also equally so divinely guided and inspiring and helping other people. So thank you.
Thank you. And friends, everybody listening, thank you so much for being on the show today. It means so much to me. I love your comments. I love that you've listened and subscribed and you join us each week, and share this episode with a friend that really needs to hear these messages. I always feel like there's so many downloads that I get and so many intentions that I get, and it's such a beautiful story that we get to receive together. And thank you so much for being here. Until next time, keep investing in what really pays off. Peace.